Talking to Norman Gregory, the filmmaker behind A Reason to Leave. Congratulations with your film.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Cheers.
And welcome to Milan.
That's great, isn't it?
Fantastic life you've got. I know we've spoken at length actually, Norman, this is really interesting, but if we can, before we get on to that, just tell us a brief synopsis about the film and then we can start delving into everything else.
Okay, well it's about a guy. I was sat in front of the TV one night and they announced on the news, this was on South Today in the UK, and they just announced that this guy had, he'd been running this pub and he'd run a sort of a charity thing where he was collecting everybody's money and he was going to have this big do at Christmas for everybody in the village. He collected all this money, but he'd been drinking, he'd been gambling, and he just did a runner. He got on the ferry and he left.
So he's got the money and says, but that's it, I'm off.
Yeah, he just, well, no, he hadn't got the money, he'd blown all the money.
Sorry.
And I at the time I sort of thought, you sod, what a dreadful thing to do. But anyway, then a couple of nights later, they announced that his body had been washed up at pool. And I started thinking, oh, that's really a bit sad, you know? He must have been in a bad state to want to go out and do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, what happens if he meets somebody on the boat, and maybe something nice happens, and maybe he's had a bad time to that, and you know, the story starts going.
Yeah, I love all
and
these
then you
kind
think,
of things,
and then I thought, well, where can he be redeemed? And then I thought, I love Italy, so why don't we? So then I had to try and get him from Poole down to Italy. So we started writing the story, and this guy James Cottle, who wrote it with me, and so that's how we ended up in Italy. But the great thing is he's sort of redeemed by the very thing that does him in, because alcohol's been the ruination of him, and then he gets a job in a vineyard which is surrounded by alcohol, but he finds Italy sort of redeems him and lifts him. I won't give away the end of the picture, but it's nice things, you know.
Well, the thing is, I can see with Italy as an example, or as Nice, as I love it in Nice.
Yes.
But these places are seductive.
Very.
In terms of the atmosphere, I can see in this country, for instance, and the south of France, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
You can see you get sucked into that kind of nice lifestyle.
Yeah.
We used to have this girl that came to Jessica, who's in London actually, lives in from Mars in south of France. And she's always happy. She's in Argentina at the moment. And I said to her one day, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy? She said, because I'm from the south of France. And that to me sort of sums it up.
Yeah.
There was just no comeback to that.
No.
You know.
I just think if you with it's Italy with me, but the light is so fabulous.
Yeah.
And I always think whenever you look at any bit of the landscape in Italy, it's though they've had a landscape gardener and put all the trees in exactly the right position.
Yeah.
Oh, a nice little villa there, and then we need a few trees lining up. It's like it's just beautiful.
Landscape the entire country.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think, yeah, and of course the food and the drink, which is my ruination here, especially. We won't mention what time we finished this morning.
Well, so you're preaching to the converted. So, if we can just go back a bit, because originally you were an actor, weren't you?
Yes.
If you can give us some idea of where you sort of started, where you came from. And
well, I was a photographer to begin with. I trained as a photographer. And then I'd been abroad. I was in the Nigerian Civil War. Oh. And then I went down to South Africa, and I came back, and it was quite a trendy job then, you know, being a photographer. And I just got into acting, and I, as you do, I had to start in the worst place in the world, a place called Mablethorpe. And
where's that?
It's in Lincolnshire.
Oh, stop there.
Yeah. And I sort of did this, and it was a terrible part in a terrible show. But the guy who was running the show, he said to me, "Oh, I'm going to give you a break. You know, I'm going to pay for you to go and audition at RADA."
Oh, right.
So I didn't even know where it was. You know. Anyway, I went down, I auditioned, and I got in, which was nuts. You know, things like that.
Because I always imagine it's devilishly difficult to get into RADA.
It is, and it isn't. I mean, when I went there, they were auditioning in the UK They audition in America and they audition in Europe. And they all together, there was like about 2,000 people auditioning in London. There's only like altogether in the intake, there's 21 places. Oh. So, and they put you in this room. There's this big room, and you all sit in this room. There's no bloody chairs. You're all sat on the floor. And the girl next to me was in a pink tutu, you know, obviously dressed up for the occasion. But anyway, as the day went on, we kept on. We did the auditions and that, and I dried. I was doing a piece of Hamlet.
Oh, what? And you just completely blanked?
Blank, nerves cracked, you know. And I thought, oh well, that's it, isn't it? So then I came back up to this room that you put back into, and we kept seeing people leaving. You know, you got the hand on the shoulder and people left, and we kept looking out the window and seeing them disappearing down the road. And then this guy came up to me, and he sort of bent down. I was just waiting for the touch on the shoulder, and he said, they want you to go back in again, but they said, can you have a look at the bloody script? In other words, learn your sodding lines. But anyway, so I went down there, and then I went to see the principal, and he just said, the longer it goes without you hearing, the more certain you'll be that you've got a place.
Right.
And I was lucky because lots of people have to keep going back, and, you know. But anyway, I came out of RADA and everything changed, and I had a good agent and I got loads of work. And then I started shooting TV commercials, which at the time I was very sort of arrogant and I don't want to do that, you know. And then I realised how much money you can make at it. And so I thought, well, that sees that the agent keeps you on the books. Because if you can knock out 3 or 4 TV commercials in a year, it's a business for them.
Yeah.
If you're not earning any money for them, they don't keep you. But if you've got, whatever you've done, you can have done 6 months of theatre at no money at all.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they say, but he's knocked out 4 commercials, look what he's made for us there. Well, we keep him.
And so at that time, over a number of years, you're never then, I guess, because I know you obviously transitioned to behind the camera, but at that moment, you're not really thinking about getting the other side. It's all about acting.
No. I tried once. I tried directing in theatre.
Right.
I directed this show, and I was terrible. You know, this was like 30 years ago. I was absolutely terrible. But then later on, when I was sort of thinking of taking things easy, and I moved down to Dorset, and they offered me the opportunity of doing a master's degree at Bournemouth University, which I couldn't believe because I never went, I didn't even get O-levels, A-levels, never went to university. And the guy said, well, you got into RADA, so that will count as a credit, so you can do it.
Right, okay.
So I went to Bournemouth University, and it was magic. It was like, you know, I went in all these young...
Was it literally as though the veil had been lifted?
Yes, yes. And it was the first day I remember, and I felt so uncomfortable because I'm playing grandfathers on telly, and I go in, and all these young guys and girls who from all over the world, and they were all sort of 25, 26. And, you know, especially the girls are sort of looking at me, and what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, that's an old boy, yeah.
But I tell you, within a couple of days, I just thought, I'm so happy doing this, and I feel comfortable doing it. And I kept thinking, why did you never do this before? Why did you wait all this time? You know, but you can't rewrite your life.
No.
But and the funny thing was that I kept getting really good marks on my films, my shorts, which was a good job, you know, because I had to write 6,000 word essays, you know, and I couldn't. I don't know.
I struggled with 600 words.
Oh God! And the best of it was they had this woman who sort of advised me to help me because I was so thick at doing this. And she just kept saying, well, just write 6,000 words of anything. And then she'd say, oh, this is very good. I'll tell you what, though, we'll cut out, and then we'd end up with like 1,000 words. And she'd say, right, now go back and write another 6,000. And it was just, but I got through. Fortunately, the film's got such decent marks that they carried me on the other side. So I got my master's. But by then, they say to you, right, you've done all the shorts, and then they say, right, now you've got to make a feature film, or you've got to do a big number.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, okay. But of course, when you make a feature film, you don't realise how long it's going to be. And I'd already spent 6 months writing the thing, and then we finally got to go shooting after about 9 months, and went out and did a 3-week shoot, and then it took me another year to finish it. But I put a rough cut in for my masters to get my degree.
Yeah.
But then after that, I sort of took it all to bits and sort of started grading, started working on sound design, and it was like another year before we finished it.
And during that time period that your second career, if you don't mind me saying,
yes.
I'm guessing, are you working then, or was it just not possible? How did that
No,
work?
no, I shot some.
You're still working during
I did a couple of commercials.
Right.
Keep them.
Yeah.
I did a couple of corporates. I did a TV series in England. It's called Doctors. I did a bit.
Oh,
of that.
I know that. Yeah.
And yeah, I kept earning a few quid. Well, you've got to, haven't you?
Of course.
But whereas before, you're sort of thinking, you know, as you get older, you're sort of thinking, well, I don't have to do this, and there's not the same pressure to get hold of money. But now I'm thinking, oh, it's my next film. You know, I can buy this, or I can get this done, or I can get a better grading, or I can, you know, it's just everything goes into film now.
And now, when you're getting back to obviously behind the camera, when you're even going back to this first film, you've got the bug, which every filmmaker I speak to gets the bug.
Must.
The addiction. There.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction. And I know, obviously, like this film is very passionate. I know you've got something else in the pipeline and so on and so forth. But it's interesting you say about, I wish I'd done this years ago. But a lot of filmmakers also say to me, they wish they'd done it years ago, but actually in practice, looking back, it wasn't the right time. So maybe it wasn't the right time for you, you know?
No, I'm sure you're right. Because when I think back to when I directed the one play, I mean, I was just not in the right place. And I think that for me, luckily, I have worked as an actor, albeit sometimes in very small parts. I've worked with some of the best directors in the world. I worked with Dickie Attenborough for 6 months. And you listen, if you stand there and watch Sir Richard Attenborough, direct a feature film.
I'd love to, man. Paul met him, I think. Paul knew him.
Fabulous. And Jeffrey Unsworth was DOP. I mean,
blimey, he was the DOP on Superman.
Yeah. I mean, every morning I got up and I used to look around at all this and watch Pete and learn. You know, because I mean, he was working with Anthony Hopkins, Ryan O'Neill, Robert Redford. Oh, I mean, there's just so many. But every day, Laurence Olivier was on. I mean, it was just great. Every day you just went, and I couldn't think of a better way to learn how to, especially watching Attenborough. I mean, it was the way he worked with the people, and that's what I think is probably if I've got a bonus, having worked as an actor for so long, I do understand actors, and I do understand what helps them, what hinders them, and what's a pain in the effing arse. And you sort of, and because I can relate to that, I do find that when you hit a problem, it's easier for me to smooth things out, you know. And it's just, I just really, really enjoy the working with the actors and getting the performance.
And when I mean, there's obviously parts you've had when you're in front of the camera that brought you amazing joy, looking back, incredible moments.
Yes.
But can you compare that to finishing a film like this and the joy? Are the two? Can you compare them? Was just one much better than the other?
For me, the difference for me is when I was very lucky. I earned a very good living at being an actor. I always worked at it though, and I was always pushing, always driving, always trying to get the next job. And that went on. But once I came behind the camera, I don't feel the need to do that anymore. No. And the funny thing is that since, it's only a couple of years, but since I left Bournemouth, I mean, I've never chased anything, but I've had people come, can you do a corporate? Can you do this? Can you do that? Unfortunately, that pays for all the other bits, you know. And I've got the next film. The great thing is that, like Rodriguez says, if you want to learn how to make film, make a feature, because you learn so much. It's wonderful how much you learn making your first feature. You just can't wait to get on the second and try and sort out all the problems and all the messes you made on the first one.
And with a reason to leave, that day, the first day of actual shooting, everything's in place.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes.
Sleepless night, I assume.
Oh God, yes.
And what was that,
Yes.
when you actually got down to that, to shoot, everyone's there
Yes.
waiting for you, and suddenly, well, you know this already, but you're a fucking head honcho, right?
Yes.
What's
yes.
going through you? What
Yes.
are you feeling? Can you explain it? Trepidation?
Didn't sleep hardly
yeah,
at all.
Yeah.
But I was so concerned about. I'd done all my homework. I knew the script off by heart. You know, you've got to. You can't sort of turn up and say,
go, hang on a
"Are we
minute."
going to?"
Yeah.
If the first thing you do is start looking at the script when the actors are there, you go. But no, yes, I was very, very nervous, and I think, to be honest, the first couple of takes weren't usable. You know, I cocked things up. When you could see that, oh, well, that isn't going to work and that isn't going to work and we're going to have to change that. But the great thing was that by the time I'd done about a week's filming in the UK, and then we went to Italy, which was a big move.
Yeah.
But then I arrived in Italy, and I was at a place called Orciatico, which is a little village. And I remember doing the first shot there, but I had so much confidence by then.
Well, because you've got all this behind you and you're
Yes.
right on it then, yeah.
And in the UK, it wasn't magic. We were just sort of getting everything down. There was problems, and we sorted the problems out, but they were all sort of technical. But we got into a team, and by the time we got to Italy, everybody was on song. So when other actors were coming in to play other parts, that they've had the confidence as well, because if you are all operating as a team, they
it
feel
rubs
good.
off, yeah,
Yes, and they come on and they think, oh, this is brilliant. Yes, they're watching the takes. They're watching, oh, I want to get on there, And I had such a good team. I mean, fabulous, so much talent. And then, of course, Mark, Claire, Alice. I mean, they were just fantastic. They made it so easy for me.
I know we spoke about, so you mind me asking about the casting process, particularly of Alice's part?
Yes.
Because I think you said you actually had to see a lot of actresses before, but am I right in saying that's because you actually sent the wrong kind of actresses? Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, I think the agents do.
Yeah.
I think that's a real problem. I mean, you say what you want. And I can understand it. I mean, the agent is sort of thinking, well, he says he wants that, but he might want that, and he might want that. But Mark, Claire, the only problem is getting them. But then the part of Bethany, which Alice was playing,
yeah.
and I had seen, and everything is down at cost. So just renting a room for the day for seeing girls is costing me money. And I'm thinking, so I'd seen girls 3 days, probably about 40 girls I'd seen, and nothing, all coming in pretty, blonde hair, loads of makeup, and I've been saying in it, this woman, it's a woman. She's young, but she's a woman, and I thought, I want a sort of Madonna in her first movie, that sort of feel.
Desperately, yeah.
And I thought, and I want this aggression and all this, and all the girls were coming in. They're all the same, and sort of, I shouldn't say this, but anyway, they all had Essex accents.
Yeah, no, tell it like it is.
Anyway, and then it was getting late in the afternoon, and we had one girl came in, and she was really good, but she wasn't right. And then I saw another one, and then Alice came in, and I sort of thought, well, I wasn't sure. But then I said, come on, we'll read this together. And there's a guy on the camera for me. And the minute she opened her mouth, I knew.
It was there.
I'm welling up now.
We've got
just so, I just thought, oh, thank God. And I actually said it, and it's on the tape. Because, as soon as we finished the take, instead of saying cut, I just said, oh, thank God we found it, And Alice just, I knew I'd found out. I knew she
Oh,
was
so I've
gonna be
seen her in
really
other
good.
stuff. Fantastic actress.
Fantastic, and the great thing was that, you know, it's like some other things in life. It just got better and better and better. I mean, I'm not saying that we didn't have occasional bits in scenes where we were having trouble finding what we wanted, but she was a joy to work with, and really cares about her acting, and that's important too, you know, because some different actors are different, you know.
Because of course the advantage is that you're talking, and I'm thinking, hang on, but of course, if you don't mind me saying, you're an actor.
Yes.
You've been around the block,
Yes.
so you know exactly what you're looking for, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you've done it.
Yes, and I know, and you know, they talk about in the moment and things like that, you know, and you know that there are times, and I'm thinking then as a director and actor, and I'm thinking there's times you just got to shut up and get out of it, leave them. You know, you can see in it when they're getting tired, or and if you see these things, there is a time to just sod off, you know, let them have the free. Or sometimes just leave the camera running and just say, you know, let them have their freedom. But on the other hand, the thing is that what the actors don't know, and I'm talking now with the other side of the camera, what the actors don't know is they are not, I know everybody calls them the talent, but they are not the only talent that you as a director, because you've got your DOP, you've got your sound, all these people, your editor, I mean, all these people are hopefully better than you at doing their job. So they then take what you've created or brought together and they lift it to another level. And the great thing is that after a couple of days working together, you can feel it pulling you up. And you think, oh, this is brilliant. Yes. But there again, we had another thing, we've been filming on an encounter, and you've got all these people who are bringing different things to it. And we were shooting in Lyme Regis, and we had this thing on the cob with these two actors, and I've got the DOP, and he's saying, listen, we're going to lose this light in another 3 minutes. Can we shoot this scene or we will lose it? We've got to shoot it now. And I'm saying, yes, okay, let's do it. And then I've got wardrobe have just come in and said, listen, it won't work with that, we need to change this. And I'm saying, well, what's that? And you've got to, which way do I go? But the thing is, you want to keep everybody positive. So I shot it with the wrong costume, and then I reshot it later with the right costume, with the bad light, but we managed to wangle it on the wrong costume.
Okay.
So there is, I mean, they say you should never say that, you know, we'll sort it in post, because everything in post costs so much money. I mean, we had a little thing with the tanks. When we were filming in the tanks for A Reason to Leave, there's a lot of tank work, and so we used the RNLI of Bournemouth to use the tanks. And of course, what I'd forgotten was, I mean, it's all blacked and you've got a big 3K blasting into it. But of course, when you actually get it up on a big screen, you can see these little vents in the side of the tank, which tell, you know, so then we had to put darkness in to bring darkness, which works really well. I mean, you won't, even if you look carefully, you can't see them anymore. But it costs money.
It's post.
It's post. Whatever you do in post is going to cost you money. And if you think, oh, I finished my film and I've run out of money, which always happens, you run out of money before you finish the film, but then suddenly there's this post and everything is costing you so much money. Sound design, you know, because we had so many problems. I mean, I always shoot on location. I don't want to know about anything else. When you're doing that, you've always got noise, wherever you go.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, and it's always, but anyway, it was, we sorted it in the end, because eventually I did another commercial which gave me enough money to do the post, which for a food company, I won't mention the name, but it was for these ready meals. But, you know, you think to yourself, oh, Jesus, but it paid for me post.
And there's me asking about what went through your mind the day before you shot it.
Yes.
How did you feel? we're talking now about the actual complete finished cut, which you now have.
Yes.
How did you feel? I know you've worked on this film and
Yeah.
you've seen it all come together, but when you actually saw it in its entirety, were you like 80% happy, 90% happy? What level of happiness when you sort of...
When we had a screening at Warner Brothers in the cast and crew, and that was the first time that because you keep looking at little bits all the time, and that was the first time that I sort of relaxed, and I was over the bloody moon with it. I think, and I still think, considering how little money we had, I just don't think we could have done any better. I mean, of course we could do better, but not unless I had more money.
Yeah.
Money is the be all and end all. I mean, I watched a film yesterday, and the camera it's been filmed on, we were using bits and pieces. We'd been given a Blackmagic Palm we were allowed to use on the picture,
which is
free.
which is good.
Yeah, but it's tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny, but even so.
Yeah, I'm not saying that tiny's bad.
No.
But we were trying to grade with a red and a 5D. I was trying to use a 5D at one point, but of course all that had to go in the bin because you can't grade that against the red. And then a C300, it was a case of, can I borrow this for a day, and can I borrow this for a week, and can I hang on?
And of course you've got to match them all, and that's the thing.
This is it. When you go into grading trying to match it, the 5D was a waste of time. Actually, I was saying last night, we've done a little competition with a couple of the other filmmakers, because I said to them, we'd shot quite a bit of stuff on this 5D, and it was just useless. But there's one shot in the whole picture that was on the 5D that I said to Fiorella, the editor, I said, I'm not letting that go. I said, you cut it as tight as you like, so as to blink, but I'm not going to lose the shot, and so that's in it. But most of it is, as I say, which even then people said, you can't do it. But we got a C300, a red, and the part.
Yeah.
And that's what the film is shot on.
What of those is the camera of choice? Would it be the red? Because I know that's a very popular camera.
Yes, the red is a tape. Yes, I think that. But I'm quite happily, if somebody said to me, you got to shoot on a C300, I'd quite happily go with that. But obviously, the difference is that when you go in and you see films that are shot on Panavision 70s, you just look at it and it shines off the screen, and you're thinking, oh, I'd love to have that, but
it costs money.
It costs money.
Yeah.
But what makes me laugh is that I go along to shoot a commercial, which this last one that I just did, as an actor, and I've got 3 bloody Panavision 70s on bungees, for a day's shoot on a TV commercial. What that must have cost.
God knows.
And I'm thinking I could shoot a movie for this, but that's not the way it works, is it?
No.
But no, I don't think we could have done. I certainly couldn't have got any better cast or any better crew for more money, because they all came in for free, But basically, it wasn't free; it was expenses and all this, But really, they all got points. So if we do make any money, they'll all get, But no, I obviously Encounter, which is the film we're working on at the moment, will be very, very different. I won't be shooting on a Palm, and I won't be bloody mixing cameras. And we're already talking to some mega names, which is frightening in itself, because you sort of think, will I be able to handle them?
No, I'm sure you will.
Because I've only made one feature, so a lot of them will be thinking, But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be this film, I know, because already we made a teaser.
Yeah.
And Betsam Morris Evans, who has just produced NW for the BBC, which got raves. She's got a film in America, Dusty and I, which has won endless awards. All Netflix have already snapped up, and she's come on having seen the script, the first draft, and she said, look, I'm definitely in. And she's got loads of other work, so it wasn't like I've got nothing to do, you know, but she's 100% committed to it. And we're on the 4th draft, so we know exactly where we're going. And I've been talking to some of your guys here, and they're saying that, you know,
they're making the right move, the right noises.
Oh, yes. But I did this teaser, and everybody I've shown it to in the business, you know, industry professionals, they're all raving about this and saying that this is just stunning. And I thought, well, yeah, I was really quite proud of it. And I was talking to your guys yesterday, and they said, well, we'll show you what we're pitching into New York, this New York movie, what we're pitching into for the big bucks in America.
Oh, I know the film you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And have you seen the teaser?
Yeah, I have seen that. I know. It's
God,
incredible. And I know who's in it.
And you know how much they spent on it.
Yeah, I do.
You know, I could shoot my whole movie for one. But I said to him, and he said, now, you know, he's giving me homework, and I'm going home, and as soon as I get home, I'll get a crew together. We're going to go out and shoot some more stuff that were not of the actual, not of the film. The teaser of the film is fine, but all the other stuff that goes round it. You know, a visit round the locations that we're going to shoot on, all that sort of it, which all builds, you know.
Well, like a press packet, but a video.
Exactly.
Press packet,
yeah, exactly. And of course, an interview with the star, who, if we get the money, is going to come in. All that sort of thing just builds the pitch. And then they're saying that, you know, because the subject matter will work so well in America. I mean, the Americans will love it.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Norman, thank you very much for that brilliant interview.
You know you're not allowed to do that.
Do you know what the hardest part is? It's that I can't say goodbye to him.
The only thing I'd ever loved was gone for good.
I've just realised I don't even know your name.
It's Harry.
I'm Bethany.
I don't exactly have any plans for when I get there.
How would you like a new job? My mum owns this massive vineyard in Tuscany where she's staying, so I figured she could do with the hand working the land.
Well, sure, why the hell not?
Nice.
Nice coat. This one.
Why no one told me to be like this outside the UK?
Years later, this place still takes my breath away.
To us.
Send.
His name was Harry Webster. He worked for the pub for 15 years, and he allegedly was desperate to fund his gambling problem and drinking habit.
What's he been a criminal?
He's a wanted man.
Oh, you never really cared for me.
Are you two sleeping together? Is that it?
He's married.
But so was Darren.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
Harry, please!
The thing about drowning is there is a point that you stop fighting it, you accept it, you let yourself sink.
Whatever your reasons for finally leaving are, I want you to know that you can stay here as long as you can work.
So I guess it's not really running away from your problems if you've got somewhere to go to, right?